The next phase of tax reform. House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Kevin Brady laid out a new timeline for a vote on more tax cuts, though President Trump set a different timetable in an exclusive interview with me recently. Watch.
So we anticipate the House voting on this in September, and the Senate setting a timetable as well.
We'll be doing it probably in October, maybe a little sooner than that. And it'll be more of a middle class. We did a lot for the middle class, but this will be even more aimed at the middle class. One of the things we're thinking about is bringing the 21% down to 20%. And then for the most part, the rest of it would go right to the middle class.
That was my interview just 2 weeks ago. Joining us right now is Investmark Advisory Group Principal Michael Lee. Michael, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
How are we doing?
Well, we saw a pretty good impact from the first tax reform plan. Your thoughts on tax reform 2.0 and its impact?
Well, you know, with this last tax package, it went through budget reconciliation, and there was a lot of things left on the table, right? So the SALT deduction capped at $10,000. The middle class tax cuts that were passed through the individual tax reform, those expire. So wouldn't it be a good idea to make that part of it permanent? And then the 21 to 20%, you know, I don't know how big of an impact that will be other than going from a random 21 number down to 20%. But, you know, tax cuts are good. Money multiplies quicker in the private sector than it does in the public sector. So generally, these are positive for the economy across the board.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's expecting the SALT deduction elimination to go away, Dig. And you got Democratic states suing the federal government right now because they saw their taxes go up.
Right. So get over yourselves.
Right.
Even living in a high tax, extremely deep blue state, that was just absolutely absurd. Yeah. One of the problem will be not to throw water on this, because I believe this is more political than it is economic and financial, because the Republicans want to look like they're doing even more on the economy. The Democrats running for the midterm elections are going to argue that you didn't make the individual tax cuts permanent. They didn't do that because of the budget issues, because the White House just came out with this mid-year budget outlook, and that the annual budget deficit is going to top $1 trillion starting in 2019.
The projection's doubled over the long term, right?
Right. So financially, it's going to be very difficult for the Republicans to do anything. And then you've got the Senate that's going to be tied up with trying to get through the Kavanaugh nomination to the Supreme Court. So it looks great. The optics are perfect. But whether they get something done, broadly speaking, remains to be seen.
Interesting.
I'm really curious, though, how they're going to be able to do it with all of the budget reconciliation issues, because they need true conservatives behind this. And if they don't have a plan to deal with that, I don't know how they're going to ever get this through.
Well, a couple of things in the budget. First, if the Congressional Budget Office was a dart player, would you want to be in the same room as them? I wouldn't, because they've been so inaccurate over so many periods of time, and that's because the government math is different than normal math, right? So you bake in all these sorts of assumptions all over the place. No one's thought about a 3.5% or 4% GDP, what that would do to it. And also, deficits are a spending problem. When revenue that comes into the government has never been higher. So as the economy grows, revenue grows, and it grows substantially greater. So all sorts of deficits, those are spending problems, not marginal tax rate problems. And like I'm a true believer in the Laffer curve, where we should be taxing from a revenue maximization standpoint, which comes from the growth of an economy.
But the problem is the Republicans aren't cutting spending. That we had that hideous, giant omnibus spending bill. So
you could call it hideous.
Yeah, well, because it did increase defense spending, and I think that is seen by many as being important. But that
wasn't hideous.
It was the kitchen sink in that omnibus of spending bill, and the Republicans passed it. The president signed it. He regretted it after the fact a little bit. He said he wouldn't do it again. But again, you raise spending and cut taxes, and now you're staring at $1 trillion annual budget deficit.
Let's not forget about trade and the impact of some of these tariffs. Car sellers are now saying that consumers should expect to see higher prices on imported cars if President Trump follows through with the proposed 25% tariff on foreign-built vehicles. This comes as the Federal Reserve Chairman Jay Powell had some cautious words yesterday on trade, telling a Senate panel that barriers threaten economic growth. Watch.
In general, countries that have remained open to trade, that haven't erected barriers, including tariffs, have grown faster. They've had higher incomes, higher productivity, and countries that have, gone in a more protectionist direction have done worse.
But he also said, Michael, that we weren't really sure how this current crop of tariffs and how this trade dispute would actually end up. So we're going to speak to Kevin Brady, who actually suggested that higher tariffs will cut into economic growth, and that's going to show up later this year. Your thoughts on the trade issues?
So I think Chairman Powell is 100% right. Countries with these protectionist trade barriers generally slow their economic growth, and it's been a detriment to them over time. Okay, which is important to remember. What we are trying to do is we are imposing tariffs to open up other markets. It's one tool of many to try to create free and fair traders in the world. And as of right now, the U.S. is the freest and fairest trader in the world. It's worked out pretty well for us. So what we're trying to do is break down barriers, not put on protectionist trade policies. And tariffs are one tool in that toolbox. We'll see if it works. It hasn't really had a negative impact so far. Hopefully it doesn't, knock on wood.
Why? Because you think the president's still in negotiation mode? Is that why it hasn't?
Hopefully, but it's you know, tariffs are taxes on your own citizens, right? It's clear. It slows down your economic growth. There's clear historical precedent for this. So what we're trying to do is show other countries what they're doing to us and how it can harm them, right? And so if they don't like it, they can reduce their tariffs. And, you know, President Trump has said on a number of occasions, if you reduce your tariffs, if you take yours away, we'll take all ours away. Let's just remove them all right now.
One of the most underappreciated stories that came out yesterday was Prologis came out with their earnings, and their CEO actually said yesterday that the political rhetoric as of now is not hurting our customers. They're moving forward with their growth plans, and we are not seeing a change in sentiment or decision making. And so Prologis is actually a critical waypoint for the global economy because they have all the warehouses in China as well as the United States. So their customers are Walmart, Home Depot, Amazon. So they have a great read through on economic activity. So it hasn't translated into companies yet pulling back their spending. They're still seeing the growth in the real economy, and they're still deploying their capital to reinvest in that economy.
There's just one issue, though, and because a lot of this are question marks about tariffs, particularly the tariffs on auto imports, which the Commerce Department is having a hearing about tomorrow. But there are serious concerns, and they're falling on deaf ears from a lot of these European automakers. I talk about BMW. BMW is the biggest exporter of cars made in the United States. Nobody talks about that. 70% of the cars that are made in South Carolina, they employ about 9,000 people. They want to add another 1,000. I'll tell you this right now, those jobs are going to be on hold until there's clarity on this issue. They export 70% of the cars that they make in the United States, and they just got hit with the retaliatory tariffs from China. The exports to China now are being tariffed coming out of the United States. They just want clarity. The German automaker stepped up and said, you know, let's get rid of all the auto tariffs. Let's see if the United States can stand firm and have that negotiation.
And to be clear, the auto tariffs are completely different than what we talk about when we talk about China. The auto tariffs are a different issue.
They're studying but they're using the national security issue as the basis for slapping potentially a 20% import tariff on auto imports. Why is that important? Because potentially it would apply to parts, and a lot of these auto companies, whether they're Japanese or European, they assemble cars here in the United States, and so their cost would automatically go up. Every single automaker has said that the cost of an automobile is going to go up in the United States. That includes GM and Ford. So we'll see if the White House listens to the people who create jobs in this country.